Hello and welcome back to Outside Views. Today we're diving into a provocative topic making headlines. The suggestion that Germany should take inspiration from post-Brexit Britain to save its economy. The idea, proposed by economist Carsten Brzeski, has sparked debate about the state of Germany's economic model, Brexit's real impact on the UK, and whether the EU's largest economy is facing a crisis of its own. So let's break it all down, including historic context and the reality of the economic situation in both nations. To begin, we must consider the context of Germany's current economic struggles. After decades as Europe's manufacturing powerhouse, Germany finds itself at a crossroads. Its economy has been described as weak and fragile in recent reports. Growth has stagnated, with the International Monetary Fund predicting that Germany will be the only G7 economy to shrink in 2024. And the outlook for 2024 remains bleak, with growth forecast at just 0.9%, well below the average for advanced economies. And Germany's challenges are multifaceted. A reliance on exports, particularly manufacturing sectors like automobiles, has left it vulnerable to global disruptions. The COVID pandemic, supply chains issues and geopolitical uncertainties have taken their toll, but the big one still comes. Additionally, Germany faces potential trade tariffs under Donald Trump presidency, which could further strain its export-driven economy. And amid this backdrop, economist Carsten Brzeski has suggested that Germany could learn from the UK's post-Brexit economic adjustments. He argues that Britain, despite its self-inflicted Brexit shock, has undergone a transition that Germany might need to emulate to remain competitive. Brzeski's comments highlight the need for Germany to reinvent its economic model and look beyond its traditional strategies. But what exactly does it mean to copy Brexit Britain? Brzeski points to the UK's resilience in adapting to the challenges posed by Brexit, in his opinion. For example, research from the London School of Economics suggests that UK exports have grown at a similar rate to those of other European countries, despite the initial fears of significant economic fallout, which still was there, by the way. And he also notes that Germany must broaden its perspective, using other nations as sources of inspiration rather than merely export destinations. While these points may sound compelling on the surface, we must examine the reality of Britain's post-Brexit economic situation. Since leaving the EU, the UK has faced numerous challenges. Trade barriers with its largest trading partner, the EU, have disrupted supply chains and increased costs for businesses. Industries like manufacturing and agriculture have struggled to adapt to new rules and regulations, new for them, not for other third countries. Additionally, the UK's economy has been plagued by labour shortages and stagnating productivity. And recent data paints a sobering picture of the British economy. In December 2024, the UK's manufacturing sector saw its sentiment decline for the fourth consecutive month. And the Purchasing Managers Index dropped to 47.0, indicating a contraction in economic activity. Weak domestic demand, declining export sales, and concerns over rising costs have all contributed to this downturn. And these figures underscore the challenges faced by British industries and call into question the idea of mirroring Britain's post-Brexit path. So why has Brzeski's suggestion gained traction in some circles? One reason is Germany's over-reliance on traditional industries like automobile manufacturing, which are facing increasing competition and structural shifts such as the transition to electric vehicles. Germany also grapples with an aging population and a shrinking labor force, adding further strain on its economy. And the suggestion to reinvent its model stems from a recognition that sticking to the status quo is unsustainable. However, it's important to acknowledge that the UK's economic adjustments post-Brexit were born out of necessity rather than strategy. There is no strategy still. And the country's departure from the EU forced businesses to innovate and adapt quickly, but it also came at a significant cost. And many of the predicted negative outcomes of Brexit, such as reduced trade and investment, have materialized, even if not as catastrophically as some feared. The comparison between Germany and post-Brexit Britain also highlights broader questions about the EU's economic model. Germany's struggles have exposed vulnerabilities in the bloc's economic framework, particularly its reliance on a few dominant economies to drive growth. And the idea That Germany should look to Britain for inspiration can be seen as a critique of the EU itself, suggesting that Brussels policies may not be providing adequate solution for its member states' challenges. At the same time, the notion of the EU being humiliated by such comparisons is quite an overstatement. The EU remains one of the largest and most integrated economic blocs in the world, with significant influence on global trade and politics. Germany's economic difficulties are not necessarily reflective of the EU's overall performance, but rather specific to its own structural challenges and the government. But to move forward, Germany will need to take bold steps to revitalize its economy. And this includes investing in innovation, diversifying its industries, and addressing labor market issues. And while looking to other countries for lessons can be valuable, blindly adopting, especially the UK's post-Brexit model, would be misguided. Instead, Germany should focus on leveraging its strengths while addressing its weaknesses in a way that aligns with its unique economic and political context. The electorate has a chance for that on February 23rd. As for the UK, the ongoing struggles of its industries serve as a reminder of the costs of Brexit. While there have been areas of resilience and adaptation, the overall picture remains one of the economic disruption and uncertainty. And for those who see Brexit as a mistake, and I count myself among them, it's important to challenge narratives that paint the UK's post-Brexit adjustments as an unqualified success. The Brexit referendum itself was a watershed moment in UK politics. It reflected deep divisions within the country, fueled by frustrations with globalization, economic inequality, and perceived overreach by EU institutions. The promise made by Leave campaigners, the greater sovereignty, the reduced migration, and enhanced trade opportunities, have largely gone unfulfilled. Instead, the UK has faced higher trade costs, a loss of access to skilled labor, and diminished influence on the global stage. Germany, by contrast, has historically benefited from its position at the heart of the EU. Its economic model, built on export-driven growth and close ties with European markets, has made it a linchpin of the bloc. However, this model is increasingly under strain as global competition intensifies and the EU grapples with its own internal challenges. For Germany, the key question is how to adapt to these changing circumstances without abandoning the principles that have underpinned its success. And this means, as I said, investing in new technologies, fostering entrepreneurship, and strengthening its role within the EU. It also requires addressing social issues such as income inequality and demographic shifts, which have contributed to economic stagnation. But the comparison to Brexit Britain, while provocative, should be viewed critically. The UK's experience offers lessons in resilience and adaptations in a very limited area, but it also serves as a cautionary tale about the risks of economic disruption and political isolation. Rather than copying Britain, Germany has to chart its own path, informed by its unique strengths and challenges. And copy Brexit Britain as a conclusion out of what happened in the last 3 years in Germany is quite fun. All the issues, or would I call it? Well, don't do simplistic comparisons because the issues are kind of homemade. You know, for the last 3 years, it went that way. And who was in charge? That's the question. But that's why I said February will make a decision. But what do you think about the suggestion that Germany could learn from post-Brexit Britain? It's hilarious, isn't it? So please share your thoughts in the comments below. And my German viewers definitely can say something about some of the reasons of our problems here. And we'll be back soon with more in-depth discussions on post-Brexit realities. And this time it was a comparison with Germany, which I usually don't bring German politics. I have to say this in the end of the video. Usually don't bring Germany because there always comes the whataboutists here. But this real funny article with copy Brexit Britain was a reason why I had to bring Germany in here. But I still will not accept any whataboutism stuff here. This was an article that caused me bringing Germany into this channel, but this stays my Brexit and UK politics channel. But that was so hilarious when I read that article in the first place that I had to do this. But still, no whataboutism. Until next time, take care, stay informed, and the next video is right here in the end screen.